Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of our solo D&D BECMI campaign. Now, a few changes have happened. I have adapted our characters in the last episode to these BECMI character sheets. These are based on Rule Cyclopedia. So, moving forward, this current saga we're in is named after the kingdom we're going to, and that's Shadowscape. That's right here in tile W14. And we are currently on tile S16 in the grasslands. Now, my experience with BECMI is very limited, so if we have an encounter, it's going to take me some time, and I don't edit my videos, so hopefully that doesn't cause any problems. But with this new tile, it is currently roughly 10 p.m. We're setting up camp, so half of the team, two of the three members are asleep. Our fighter wolf always typically takes lead on night watch, just in case any creatures or anything attacks. Now, one thing I haven't been doing too well was trying to encounter creatures based in the world, and our world is Exeter, formerly Havoc, and I was trying to go for a dark fantasy setting, so that was going to include ghouls, which we did encounter, zombies, shadow creatures, monsters, the undead, stuff like that. Not like the traditional kobolds and goblins and orcs and hobgoblins, but creatures that are far more sinister, dark, and gritty. So I will try to envelope that. And I have this oracle I found in my collection. It has a D20 list of creatures, of enemies, and they are a mixture of modern or typical fantasy like trolls, orcs, hobgoblins, but then there's skeletons, vampires, giant worms, wolves. You got goblins, cultists, dryads, manticore, giant spiders. So this has a lot of dark fantasy creatures to my taste compared to what we've been rolling, what we've been encountering before. And the oracle I'll be using for this episode, something I typically change every so often, is not a D100 anymore, but actually the 6 Oracle. So typically in the theme of chaos, I roll blue is yes, red is no, and I will roll if it's a 50-50 chance. I roll this, and the higher die is the outcome. The distance between the two, the gap, would sometimes influence the magnitude, the effect of that answer, of that outcome. So this would be a standard yes, because 3 is half of 6. Now, if it's more likely to include probability, I would include 2 of the likely outcomes. So this would be a likely possible, so likely yes. And as you can see, no can still match or beat the outcome. Now, if it's likely, I don't add the two probable ones together. I typically go with the highest roll independently. This is a maybe. It's just straight up a maybe. Equal, I would have to interpret it to that extent. With the D100 Oracle, maybes are not common. There actually is no maybe. You just either yes or no. So we will cross that bridge once we get to it. Let's jump in. So, Wolf, status-wise, he is currently in good shape. I gave him 12 hit points in the moment. He is still level 2. Rayla, I'm going to take away the damage based on the fact that she is resting now. She has 6 hit points. And then Garlox, our dwarf, he has no damage either. He has max hit points 8. I do not include move. That's something I don't do or typically track in this game. Neither is encumbrance. But while Wolf is on watch, let's roll for an encounter, if any, during the night. And because we're in the grasslands, we're not in the hills or mountains anymore, there's going to be a likely chance we'll run into something of a threat. So I will include the usual 2d6 blues and one no. So we're gonna roll for this. This is for encounter. Okay, so we definitely get an encounter. Three, both yeses beat the no. So this threat will happen. So we will encounter something during the late night hours, possibly past midnight. Let me let's get to the list of potential creatures here, and this is going to be a D20. Let's use red for the theme of enemies. 17 is a okay. We get ghosts. That makes sense. It's nighttime. And how many ghosts do we get? Let's roll a D4. Because of that gap between the yes and no, I'm gonna assume there's more than one. We get one. Let's say two, just because again the gap of the oracle. All right, so we're encountering a ghost overnight in tile S16. So I'm going to create a new bracket here, and let's say it's 2 a.m. The weather is cold, cloudy, and we have our campfire at the moment. Wolf is awake, but we encounter two ghosts. Two ghosts. Let's get some stats for these guys. Now let's reference our character sheets. I'm going to say that they're probably going to be AC of 8. Remember, this is descending, so we're going from the prior ascending AC to descending AC. So these guys have AC of 8. I'm going to write a little arrow to remind myself this is descending. They have HP of, let's say, I'm going to compare it to what we have, trying to get a little balance action. I'm going to say 4 per. So HP of 4. Their damage die goes probably going to be 1d4. So this is ghost number 1, and then ghost number 2. We have their HP. I'll tally it as we get closer to combat. Okay, now here's what I'm going to do. This is my first time doing combat, at least in a long time, in BECMI. I have my dice tray here. I'm going to get my D6, my D20s, and we're going to roll both for Wolf first and either ghost. Okay, so his THAC0 to hit enemy AC 8 is 8, which I believe is correct, if I'm not mistaken. Make sure that my math here right. So we have 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. I rolled a 14, which is a success to hit. But this includes our bonus. And you have to roll at or above the THAC0. Now, they rolled 19. So let's first calculate the damage that we're going to roll for Wolf. He has his best weapon's a D8, either battle axe or a sword. So I'm gonna grab the battle axe die. And whoops. Well, we pretty much know what we rolled. So we did 1 damage. So that's 1 tally for the first school. But they rolled a 19, which we have an AC of 3, and they would have to roll a 13 or higher. And guess what? They did hit us. So I'm going to put back the D20 there, and they will roll their D4. And I hope I did that right. So 2 damage, so we take 2 hits. Okay, that's Wolf's turn. I do not include bonuses for attack bonuses for enemies. I'm simply referencing our sheet. Okay, next, Rayla wakes up. She enters the battle. And we're going to grab our D20s and we'll roll them at the same time. Okay, we have these two here. D12 from Rayla. She needs to hit 8 or higher, or AC at 11, which she does. So she manages to get a hit with her 1d6 short bow or the 2 daggers. I'm going to do the 1d6 short bow. 6, nice. So she takes out 1 ghoul, 1 ghost, sorry, 1 ghost, no problem. But how did they fare? A result of a 6. Her AC is 6. That is nowhere near a hit. Okay, so that first ghoul has been defeated, and now it is going to be Garlox's turn. He wakes up from his slumber and ready to fight or roll both. Okay. You know what? Actually, let me try this. I'm going to roll weapons with the die. Something that will make it slightly, make it slightly easier for me here. All right, so he has a D6 Warhammer. All right, so he got a 13 for an AC 8. He's a hit 10 or higher. That's a hit. So he does 4 damage. He takes out another ghoul. But that other ghoul, the remaining ghoul got, let's see, his AC is 4. And it was not a hit. All right, so I hope I'm doing that accurately. If I'm not, I'm sure you guys are screaming at the screen. People who play BECMI have played for years more than I have. But in any event, we have defeated those 2 ghosts, and I'm going to track, I've decided to track XP for this one. Let me take a quick peek at the book. Okay, so a ghost is 25 XP here. Now, considering everything our characters have done so far, let's figure this out. I know I've been changing my mind a lot on this, but I want to try XP moving forward. Let's say for the first few episodes, I'm going to give them perhaps, let's see, what we do with trailer, 100, let's do 200, 300 XP. Let's just say 300 XP altogether. 300 for Wolf, 25 for that kill. We did 300 for the Elf, 25 for being part of this encounter. And then the Dwarf. The Dwarf will have, he joined us halfway through, so let's say 150 and then 25 for this encounter. Okay, we're back to square one, and that is waking up. So that encounter, that XP value came from the book I have off camera here to save some space on the table, obviously. I'll probably move this oracle too. Now, it's morning hours. We wake up, and we're still in S17. We're now going to traverse here. This is T14. T14. It's 8 a.m. Our team wakes up. We can certainly ask the Oracle how the weather is, or even the conditions of this terrain. Let's try the terrain here. It's not consistent. It doesn't have that, it's hard to explain, but like the repeating factor of each tile you traverse, if that makes sense. Like if current tile would be, some of these here, then new tile following. So that way there's consistency, a pattern in your travel. But we need D12. Let's see what we encounter, if it makes sense. If not, desert. We can do a desert. Let's try that. So desert, I'm gonna do a cacti, like so. It's basically maybe just the deadlands. There's not much life around here. And while we packed up and left, this is desert. It is mild. The weather so far has been in my control. We can certainly ask. The desert, I'm going to say it's not raining. All right. Now that we're in this tile during the day, we have something I need to track also is rations. Let's go down 1 ration per character for the morning. Wolf has a ration. We have Rayla takes a bite. And then Garlox takes a bite of his rations. Now, If we're in the desert, I'm thinking encounter will be unlikely, but let's give it a shot. Unlikely will be two no's. And this oracle does have some encounters, or I should say, let me show you. Terrain characteristics, perhaps? Before I roll, let's experiment. If I don't like it, I will not do it. NPC plus area effect. Area effect is this stuff here. I'm going to pass on that and just stick with my gut. And is there an encounter in this new tile we're in, which is T14? Unlikely. That's a no. There is no encounter. So, uh, no encounter, but is there anything of interest in this tile? There is. Okay, so there's something of interest in this tile. Let's say we've already passed the merchant earlier. We've passed an orc. We had that strange camper on the side that had the cage of the large wolf creature. Let's say there's a sign here that shows traveling. There's a sign marker that has several locations on it. One arrow pointing south to Shadowscape, the kingdom of Shadowscape. There's another arrow that shows going this way, another trail, and there's another one. So literally a fork in the road with three possible paths to take. I'm going to say the desert is continuing on the left and right side of our location, but we are going south to Shadowscape. Now, to reiterate what our quest is right now, Shadowscape is the title of this saga, of this series. It's gone from World of Havoc to Shadowscape. We are returning the Firestone that we have found way back in our original location from the prior series I recorded of Dark Hollow. We're returning it to the rightful owner, the king of Shadowscape, for an award, for a reward. Now, some lore in our team, we met our team perhaps somewhere, or we were all hired at the same time. We were gathered. That I don't know yet. Maybe we can develop that lore once we get to Shadowscape itself. So let's go down this trail. And now we are in this one. I'm going to say it continues to be Deadlands. And this is going to be tile U16. U16 is, let's say it's 2 p.m. It's desert. And it's windy. Most likely because we're reaching the mountains. So here, we need to roll for encounter. I'm going to say unlikely, but there's always that chance. Looks like that's a no. Barely. Which means I'm going to, the difference between these two, I'm going to use that as a story, as a builder. Here's what I'm going to try. Using this oracle, points of interest. Let's roll a creature. Okay, 10. Blights. Now, based on some quick research, a blight is typically found, well, it's a plant-based creature. So how could I adapt that into something in the desert, in the Deadlands? Maybe it's a dead creature. The team finds a dead animal, a dead large animal carcass on the side. On the side of the road, the path. And it looks like, is there anything else next to the, I'm going to say likely on this one. Is there anything next to the dead carcass? There is. Okay, so there's also a dead body of a human It looks like these two, the human was attacked or was killed by the animal, and someone killed the animal. So there was probably some kind of little encounter happened here through another travelers. So what we'll do is attempt to, I think, it, Rayla is going to loot the body if it has anything. Does the dead human have anything on him? I'm going to say unlikely because it's been probably looted already. It does, kind of, not a lot. 5 gold pieces. So she finds 5 gold pieces. Let's see. I'll add to her inventory. She's 53 now. Or sorry, 52. That's XP also. 5. Okay. That that's it. There's nothing else on the body. So they're going to pass that and continue on to the next tile. All right. We're down here on B16 right here. Now it's hills. V16, it's roughly 6 p.m. Hills. It's still windy. Some dust. Some blowing dust, which will lower invisibility if we do anything that requires dexterity or perception. So keep that in mind. And perhaps we had lunch, so let's reduce our ration count. We need to find some rations soon. Wolf is probably has the least amount at the moment. 2 for him. We have 3 for Rayla, and then I think Garlox will have to share soon. Remember, one thing I might forget in the setting of this campaign is that in Shadowscape, dwarves are looked down upon. They are not welcomed. They can come through, but the citizens apparently of Shadowscape, as warned by that orc, if he's not lying, is that dwarves are not exactly accustomed to Shadowscape's conditions. They are, for some reason, racially looked down upon, and we'll see how that goes, at least in the roleplay department. All right, now we need to roll for an encounter while they stopped and had some lunch. I'm going to say 50-50 here because we're in new territory. Dry, dusty. Actually, dusty might provide coverage for a potential enemy. And that's a yes. That's a strong yes, actually. 2 to 6, that's a very good yes. So there is a creature that's most likely taking advantage of the dusty weather. Before we know what that creature is, let's see if any of our characters, I think Wolf is taking some precautions here, precautionary measures, and we're going to roll a check. So he has, it's not chaotic, it's just dusty. It's blowing wind. So I will subtract on the base roll of wisdom. He's trying to spot anything as they traverse through this path. So his wisdom is 13. I'm going to say I'm going to reduce that to 8. Oh, that's a solid fail. Shoot. So that's a fumble. Now I will treat that as a fumble. They run into, well, let's ask the Oracle. Very likely. Do they run into a trap? I will do the total of blue, not the highest. That's a strong yes. They get trapped. So they fall down a trap. There is obviously on the road, there is a hole in the ground, and they step through it. There's probably a cloth with dirt on it, some material. They fall through. So do they all fall through? I know he for sure does, but do they all fall through? Let's do a well. We can do a saving throw, which I haven't done before. Let me put this aside. He for sure falls through. So let's do a trap. Let's make things a little interesting. Trap Wolf fell through. Let's do a saving throw for our elf, Rayla. How does she fare? Now, what would this qualify as? Rod spell, dragon breath, paralysis. It's not really death ray, poison. I might just do. It's hard to say. I might just do a straight up roll on dexterity, to be honest. It is chaotic, so I will do that. Let's do a difficulty of 15, and I have a +1 on this. And she falls through also. So Rayla fell. Now, how about our dwarf friend? How did he fare? Dexterity, he doesn't have a bonus, that's 15 or anything. Oh, 7, perfect. Okay, so he is able to just avoid it. Garlax, Garlox avoids the trap. So he's on the side and he sees the team fell in. They're shouting for help. Now, who has a rope? Let's see who has a rope. I don't think any of our characters has a rope. We could roll. Maybe the daggers can be used to climb up the side of the trap inside of the ground. There's a pole. How deep is the trap? I mean, remember there is an enemy that we're waiting to introduce here in a second. But while this stuff is happening, is there uh, could Rayla use her daggers to basically climb up the side? I'm going to say unlikely. Actually, 50-50. I just don't know. She couldn't. No, she tried, but it wouldn't fare so well. All right, now let's introduce the villain or the enemy. I have an idea who, but I want to see what the list can introduce. But it has to be a intelligent creature. It can't just be like a random ghoul or some kind of brainless monster who actually designed this trap. So I'm gonna roll. Whoops. Yep, 20s. Oh, uh, interference. 6 skeletons. Nah, they couldn't do this. Tribal warriors, perhaps. Let's try tribal warriors because I'll do that. We can do hooded men, but tribal warriors is fine. I'll take that. So we encounter. Let's do a D4 of how many of them we encounter. Tribal warriors. Whoops. Rolling 4. Wow. Okay. So 4 tribal warriors. Makes sense. I mean, we are in the dry desert region of this entire world. Okay, that's gonna be tough. So let me try to find some specs for these guys. Okay, so they have an AC of 6, and their hit die is 1. Not sure what the M stands for, but I'm gonna roll D6 for each one to set their health, using the red die, of course. The first one's 2, so we have tribal. I'm going off a bandit, FYI. Tribal warrior 1, tribal warrior 2, 3, and 4. So first one has 2 health. 2. The range is from 2 to 5. Okay. 1. So obviously these are all different conditions. 2. All right. So for the most part, a mix of potential threats and some that are already hurt, possibly from past encounter. All right. So right now it's only Wolf. I'm sorry. Uh, Garlax, who's going to be in the first round of the fight, and the other two are going to have to do some kind of skill check to get them out of the trap, so it delays their response. Garlax might take some extra blows here. All right, let's begin. Now, Garlax. What's he going to do here? We're going to roll our d20s. Blue is for us, red is for them. Okay, here we go. Oh, right, weapons. I can't forget that. So their weapons are going to be d4, just to make it a little easy for our Garlax friend here. And then I made a mistake. It's a red-blue d4. Garlax has his d6 Warhammer. These guys most likely will have some loot. All right, let's see what we got here. D4. All right, I'm just going to get these lined up close enough together so it's easy to read for you. All right, so what do we need to hit? 6, which is 12, which we barely do, so that's 4 damage. I always count the player first. Player character. 12, that's a hit for an AC of 6. So that's 4 damage. I'm going to take that on the highest down to 1 now. So Tribal Warrior 2 now has 1 HP. But did they hit us? Our AC is 4. That requires a 14. They did not. Okay. Now, I'm going to do another roll because of the time for the team to get out. Let's say they're going to try. If not, then they are unsuccessful. I'll just do a flat dexterity roll per character. So Wolf, he has to roll 13 or higher to get out of that hole. 13 or less. Okay, so he gets out. Wolf gets free. What about Rayla? 14. She barely gets out. All right, now we're back to normal. So they all get out, and we're back to a regular fight. First is going to be Wolf with his D8, which is over here. All right. All right, so, oh, I'm sorry, that's a D10, my mistake. There we go, 4. All right, so he gets obviously a hit. AC of 6 only requires a 10 or more. He landed 4 damage. We'll take out another Tribal Warrior number 1. But did they get a hit? It looks like they did not. So he has an AC of 3, which will require a hit of 13 or more. They were barely short of that. So next roll is going to be Rayla. She has a damage, a weapon of D6, her short bow. I'm going to say she'll use her daggers this time. She'll use 1 dagger. I only have 1 D4 at the moment. Thought I had more than that, but that's okay. Okay, so let's roll for her attack. All right, so 2. They both landed 2. 15. Rayla, AC 6 to hit is at 13 or higher. She unfortunately misses with an AC 6. But they, with her AC of 6, they have the same AC as we do. They land a hit. 15 is obviously a hit. They do 2 damage, so she's back to where we started, 2 hits. That's okay. Now it is going to be Garlox's turn. He has a D6 from before, and then rolling for damage. I like when they land close to each other like that. All right, so Garlax needs to land on a 6 or AC 6, which is 12 or higher. He does not. He misses. Damn. And they also, with the AC 4, miss too. So there's no hit at all, which stinks because he had a 6 of damage potentially. 11, yeah, that's with his bonus. So these numbers are are considered with bonuses. So the math is already included. I don't have to look up here. I don't have to consider the level. All right, now we're back to Wolf. All right, this is getting really interesting. Wolf for 12 is the 6. We're looking at AC 6. The hit is a hit. Okay, so he deals 5 damage. He takes out Tribal Warrior number 4. They don't get a hit at all with our AC of 3, which requires a 13 or more. Did not roll a 13, so he's saved. All right, this might be the final. There's 2 more left. Might be the final bout. All right. Let's see. This is L. I'm sorry, I did not roll the correct. I did. All right, let's just say she used her short bow. Got to change it out. But this should go over here, and this 3 should go over here. Let's count hers first. 17 with an AC 6. That's a hit. She deals 2 damage. She takes out one of the Tribal Warrior number 2. However, Tribal Warrior number 2 Does not land a hit. Okay, it's up to Garlax to finish them off, hopefully. He has a D6, so we can keep the dice as they are. There we go. All right, so 9 is not good enough to hit an AC of 6, so we miss. However, AC 4 for Garlax is a 14. They also miss. Okay, good. So we're back to Wolf. I was hoping he would finish it off, but it looks like it's in Wolf's hands now. He has a D8. All right, here we go. All right, so 14 AC 6 is a hit. He deals 1 damage. Picks out Tribal Warrior number 3. However, in his attack, a 13 at a 6 is also. I'm sorry, enemy AC 13. Oh, that's just a hit. He takes 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. But they have been defeated. So these 4 Tribal Warriors are going to be equal to XP gained from a bandit, and that's 10 per. So let's give them the XP they deserve. We have 10. We have 10 here, and then 10 here. I will also include a bonus 5 for escape in the pit. That was Wolf and Rayla. The dwarf, however, he gets. I'll give him, nothing. Just possible loot. So the Tribal Warriors obviously had loot. We don't need to ask the Oracle that question. But the question is, what kind of loot do they have? So let's see what this Oracle has for items. I don't think it has too much for items. Let's see, points of interest. It does not have many items. However, let's go to something that I was going to use, and that was the Table of Fables. So gold piece wise, let's roll up a d20 per character, or per enemy we killed. So for Wolf, he gets 16 gold pieces. So that's 16 XP. All right. Puts him at 35. Okay. And then for Rayla, she gets 2. Okay. 2 XP. And then 54 gold pieces. All right. And then we have Dwarf. Garlox gets D20 gold, 17. That gives him, let's see, 20. That's going to be 25 gold pieces. Math is not my strong suit. All right, let's look at items, see what they get from Table Fables. Let me put that aside. Fables has items, has a great little section for items, actually, for loot. 46. All right, so first for Wolf. Let's roll up a D100 to see what kind of loot he gets. On the loot type, 46 is going to be animal products. That's 55. Animal products is D6, and then another D6. Free. Well, meat. Oh, okay, he gets meat. That works. We'll add that to his. That you know what? That just gives him some rations. I'll just do that. That just gives him another ration. And then for the next one, Let's see what kind of inventory loot we get for Rayla. Oh, two. That's going to be pocket filler. Nothing really impressive. That's a D20. She gets the following 12. A set of silverware. She's going to pass on that. And the final loot will be for our, whoops, our dwarf. He will get 83. Apparel. Could be good. Apparel is going to be right here. That's a D20. 10. Crimson. Okay. Style. So it's crimson colored. All right. Interesting. What size is it? So crimson. It's going to be fine material, wool, addressed. He's going to pass on that. All right. So they are done with looting these tribal warriors based on that other oracle we used. So now they got the XP, and that is going to be it for this episode. We took care of some encounters, dealt with a trap, and are now using XP along with the BECMI Rule Cyclopedia in this game moving forward. So let's leave a note here for myself when we do the next episode. We defeated these tribal warriors. That's where we leave off. So, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.